So now we're going to be looking at creating and analyzing a budget. And this is something that all of you are going to do at some point in your life, and I'm doing it constantly. So let's just look at these questions at the top here. So let's just plug these numbers into our calculators and see if we get a positive or negative number after we do that. So $10 minus $15 would give us negative or minus $5. And I'm just going to fill in the blanks here. So the next one would give us negative $16. The next one would give us a positive $66, but the fourth one would give us a negative $1,100. So a budget helps you keep track of what you spend and earn. A budget compares expenses to income. So how much money you have to spend versus how much money you're taking in every month from your job or from whatever is making you money. A budget can show a surplus, which is income that is greater than expenses. So are you making a positive amount of money every month? Or a deficit? Are you spending more than you're actually making in a month? A budget helps you decide where you can reduce spending, and a budget helps you plan and achieve a financial goal. How can you analyze expenses? So, if we're looking down here, it says when creating a budget, you need to determine your total expenses, your fixed and variable expenses, and we'll talk about those words in a second, and your total income from all sources. So they gave us a list of expenses down here. So let's start by circling the fixed expenses below. So what a fixed expense is an expense that does not change every month. So it'll be the exact same amount of money every time you have to pay it. So for instance, a car payment, that would be a fixed expense. You would pay, I don't know, $400 a month for your car. Clothing, on the other hand, that would depend on each month. Cell phone, that would be a fixed expense, the same amount every month. Rent is definitely the same amount every month. Gym membership would be the same every month, as well as insurance for whatever. So if it's your house insurance, your apartment insurance, car insurance, and so on. Now I'm looking at the rest of these, and all of them seem to change every month. So those would be the variable expenses. We're going to underline those ones. So variable means that every month they're going to be different. So clothing, that would be different every month. Eating out would definitely be different every month. Groceries, gas would be different. Movies would be different. Video games, recreation, that's just going out and doing things like escape rooms or bowling. Utilities would be different every month depending on how much water you use or how much electricity. Uh, Gifts would be different, vacations, and car repairs. So all of those things will differ every month. And then finally, we are going to check off any recurring expenses. So those are the ones that are going to reoccur no matter what. So you're going to have to eventually pay those ones again no matter what. So your car payment, you'll for sure have to pay that again. Now for clothing, I would say that it's not necessarily a recurring expense because you could wear the same clothes forever and ever. I'd say it would be a recurring expense if you have a child that's growing up and they constantly need new clothes, but for the regular person, you don't need to buy new clothes. Your cell phone bill will definitely be reoccurring. Eating out, you don't have to eat out, so that one's not. But groceries, you're definitely going to have to buy groceries. Gas will also be recurring. You're going to have to fill up your tank regardless. Movies won't, but rent will be. Video games, you don't have to buy them. Recreation, you don't have to go out and do anything, but your gym membership, if you have one, it will be recurring. Utilities will come every month. Insurance will be every month. Gifts, you don't have to pay for every month. Vacations, you don't, and car repairs, you wouldn't. So those are the ones that would be recurring expenses. So in this example, it says Tiffany is a pharmacy technician in Winnipeg. She tracked her expenses and income for a month. She has started a monthly budget. Continue Tiffany's budget. So let's look at her budget here. She gave us a bunch of receipts as well as some amounts of money that she pays for insurance and car payment, etc. So let's start off with her monthly income. So her annual take-home pay is $29,481.12. So that's how much she takes home per year. That's what annual means. So let's divide that by 12 to find out how many or how much she takes home in a month. So if we divide that number by 12, she takes home $2,456.76 a month. So now let's figure out what her monthly expenses are. So if we look at her rent, it would be $950 a month. So I'm just going to put that here. And then which expense is $219? Well, that would be her car payment. So we're just kind of filling in the blanks here using the information they gave us on the side. So then they gave us her insurance here. Let's look at utilities. She spends $86 on those. So utilities are just like your water bill, your electricity bill, and so on. Cell phone, 62. Savings, she puts some money in her savings, so $220. So those are all of her fixed expenses. So those are the ones that are occurring no matter what. But now let's look at her variable expenses. So what did she spend $271 on? Well, that would be food. Food adds up fast. Gas, she spent $84 on and 28 cents. Clothing, she decided to go for some clothing shopping, so she spent $75.98. Personal care they gave us, and then she spent $68 on recreation, so maybe she did an escape room, or she went to the Red River X and spent money on those tickets. And then leisure and miscellaneous is also there. So now, in order to total up her monthly expenses, we have to add up all of these numbers. So we're going to add up all of these and these. So her fixed and variable expenses. So if you add all of those numbers up, you should get $2,350.20 per month in expenses. So let's see if she has a surplus or a deficit. So we're going to take her income, which is $2,456.67, and we're going to subtract those expenses. So $2,350.20. And in the end, she will have a surplus of $106.56. So she is cutting it close. She only has $100 more to play with. So we're just going to say she will have a surplus of $106.56. And it's a surplus because that number, once we do the income minus expenses, is positive. So she didn't go over her total income for the month with all her expenses. In part C, it says that this month Tiffany won $500 in a charity raffle, so that would be more income. But she must pay a vet bill of $785. So this is an expense that came out of nowhere. And yes, vet bills are that much money. How does this affect her budget? So we're going to add that $500 onto her income. So her income was already $2,456. So we are going to add this $500 onto her income. So that will bring us to $2,956.76. And then we're going to add onto her expenses as well. So we need to add $785 onto her already $2,350 of expenses. So if we add those two numbers together, her new expenses would now be $3,135.20. So now if we do the income minus expenses, we actually have a negative number, which is minus $178.44. So now Tiffany has a deficit of $178.44 this month. So she went over her budget. So in the last part, it says Tiffany wants to save an additional $50 per month towards an RRSP, so towards her retirement. How could she adjust her budget to do this? So if you look at her budget, she does spend a lot of money on things that she doesn't necessarily need to, such as clothing, leisure, I don't know what's under miscellaneous or recreation, but she could easily take a few dollars out of each of those categories to make up for this $50 per month that she wants to invest in an RRSP. So I just wrote here that Tiffany could spend less money on food, clothes, recreation, and leisure to make up for the $50 she wants to save in an RRSP.